What's up, Drop Pod listeners? You can check out new episodes of the Drop Podcast every Wednesday wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
This episode is presented by All County Exteriors. All County Exteriors is a third-generation premier exterior home remodeling company celebrating over 40 years in business. In a remodeling world where the average remodeling company only survives in business for only 5 years, All County Exteriors has stood the test of time, providing their customers with top-quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors. They service homeowners and builders with anything from small repairs to large additions. All County Exteriors is not just limited to construction. They have a deep passion for giving back to their community and are charitable supporters of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the American Cancer Society, Roofs for Troops, and Parents of Autistic Children. If you have planned to do any exterior remodeling, call the experts at All County Exteriors for a free, no-obligation estimate for your project. Just call 732-370-2780 or email them at info@allcountyonline.com. That's 732-370-2780 for All County Exteriors for all your remodeling needs. This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Puerto, and this is Ryan Coulott.
What's up, Drop Podcast people? How you doing this week? Mike and I got a big week coming at you. Again, we're starting to get in the swing of things. It's finally a nice day out. Starting to get a little golf ready, maybe. The Arnold Palmer Invitation at Bay Hill is on, so it's. I kind of finally feel like they came to the East Coast. It makes it a little more real. You know, they were in Hawaii, they were in California. Now, I don't know. It's a nice day out. I'm feeling a little more ready for golf today than I've been in a while, Mike. Let's go through the schedule.
The weather's starting to turn.
Yeah,
the weather's starting to turn. This week, right now, it's beautiful. I'll take this. Daylight savings time has hit us. I think it should just stay lighter later 100 times out of 100 times. I'm starting to get the itch, big fella.
Why don't they just move it a half an hour, one of these, and then stop moving it? What's going on here? Can't we just, what are we doing? Let's stop moving the times.
Back to the United States government just getting in their own way.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go through the schedule, Mike. Yesterday was TPI Tuesday, episode 13. As I've been saying, Mike and I are just Dr. Mike and I should say, and I are just we're rolling. They're more workout driven. So if you're following along there, check those out on YouTube. Again, we're kind of coming down to the wire here. We talked about doing a retest. The start of the posting season, which is April 1st in New Jersey. So, you know, we don't have a solid end quite yet. We know we got some obstacles in the way, but we're going to figure those out. And again, somewhere in the 15, 16, 17 week, we're going to get to and have a retest. So, you know, stay tuned. We're coming up on the end here and we'll see how that goes. But again, check that out over on our YouTube channel, the Drop Golf Podcast.
Do you feel better?
I do. I legitimately do. I feel like my the big thing has been like my hips. You know, I don't have very good hip mobility, and I definitely can tell that that like my hips are A, stronger, B, mobile. Maybe flip those, but yeah, I can definitely feel it. There's more mobility and like my hamstrings as well. I can definitely feel it. So, yeah, mobility is good. You know, we need to lose a couple LBs and keep going with it. But yeah, it's been really good for sure. It has. Today's episode 75, Mike. 75 is a big milestone. I think it's, you know, every 5 is kind of a nice one, but yeah, 75 this week is a good one. So, thank you for listening.
I will say this. To me, I look at it now like 25. So like the 100 will be the next one. It's 3 digits. Like, one. Okay, is the next big one. But listen, 75 straight. I think that's what I take more pride in than anything. It's not just that we've done 75. It is 75 straight Wednesdays, 5 a.m. You wake up, you tune in, you listen. It's a different topic. It's a different guest. It's new information. It's all about golfing in the Garden State here, folks.
Yeah, man. And honestly, I mean, we talk about it. We can't golf more months than we can golf in New Jersey, based on how the weather is, how the winter is. So, we're coming into the season where we're going to have more content, more stuff coming out, more stuff to even talk about. So, yeah, for sure. So again, thank you for listening. Episode 75. Check out, it is on YouTube also. The Drop Golf podcast over there as well. So it's just on the channel. You got to check it out. Thanks for listening either way, whichever way. Tomorrow, the episode you've all been waiting for. I've been doing Tidewater again. Went down to Myrtle Beach for Christmas break, and in between that Christmas and New Year's time, been playing Tidewater. They've been coming out over the past every other week for the past however many weeks now. This is the culmination. This is the 3 with me at Tidewater. This is holes 7, 8, and 9. Beautiful along the intercoastal coming in. Big. The clubhouse there is enormous. It's got the big clubhouse coming into 9 there. So really a culmination episode, as we've said, and that'll be this week. And then, as golf season is right around the corner, we're going to start up some Ryan's Versus again. So, so stay tuned to that. That's tomorrow, Thursday, 3 with me at Tidewater. Another thing we got dropping on Thursday this week, the Elite 8, Mike. We're going to talk about the Sweet 16 in just a second here, but the Elite 8, the Fairway Faceoff, voting 11 o'clock on Thursday. That's tomorrow if you're listening. So head over to our Instagram channel, check out the stories, and again, make sure you're voting because we're coming down to the wire here with this, and there are some great matchups.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Mike, that was really good self-discipline there. So again, before we get in there, a couple housekeeping things. Our guest for today is the tremendous John Mascari. John Mascari he's a co-host of Sunday mornings on the tee, 8 a.m. ESPN with Anita Marks. He's the dog director of golf, and he is a dog, and it was fun. He was so super animated. He's got the hands going. He's got the Staten Island thing, the Italian thing going. I mean, he is to call him the dog is a true statement. So he's a director of golf at Alpine Country Club, way up in Northeast Jersey, basically across the river from Manhattan there. So he's on with us this week again. Staten Island guy. It's really cool that he's a big name, Mike, and a legitimate fan of our show, which was really cool to hear him talk about how interested he was in what we got going on, because he's such a big name and he's on live radio and he's a guy, he's a celebrity, and he's interested in our stuff, which was legitimately pretty cool. So stick around for John. We got him for almost an hour. He's a great animated guest for us. Our Jersey guys, we got the Puerto Rican Open this week. Max currently sits in the top 20 as we're recording this. Mike, he's been playing some really good golf lately. I know I said that last week on the day we recorded. He did not play very well, kind of played himself out of contention, I guess would be the right way. I don't know what his final number was on that Sunday, but he's been on a roll, playing some really good golf. Currently, again, sitting in the top 20 on the leaderboard there. Ryan McCormick made the cut as well, so good for Ryan. Again, playing well. Cash and checks is always a good thing. A couple New Jersey guys doing the damn thing down there in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing is cash and checks, because even when you're not playing particularly well, if you can find ways to keep making a few bucks, climb the money list, you know how the whole FedEx Cup system and the points and this to get into these events, missing cuts just doesn't help you. And these guys are finding ways to get in. And listen, nothing beats making a few extra bucks.
For sure, for sure. Speaking of making some extra bucks, a guy that if you've been watching Full Swing from last year, he got a lot of recognition. Joel Damon, I saw, was down in Puerto Rico as well. That's my spirit animal guy. He's also down there. He's going to be cashing a check this week as well, making the cut. So I saw he was top half of the field. I don't know where he's going to finish today, but. Again, good luck to my guy Joel. That kind of leads me into this, Mike. How much of Full Swing have you watched? It came out this week. I haven't gotten a chance to binge watch a ton of it yet. I think I'm in the middle of episode 3 currently, so I got some more work to do.
I've watched 20 minutes of the first episode. That's all I've gotten to. To say life has been busy is an understatement.
Yeah.
But I have to find some time. It'll get watched.
Yeah.
I don't know how quickly, but it'll get done because I love the season. I love the series. I think it's great. Anytime that I can get what I feel like is behind the scenes access to guys, I like that,
Yeah.
So I'll be all in when I watch it. And I'm someone that needs to be like, I know I have a time. I can just sit down and watch it. I can leave my phone on the side and just literally be glued to that. And that ain't easy for me.
No, that's not. And it's really good. We talked about it last year, how much we both loved it. Even though some people, you and I are more golf guys, and it was kind of driven more towards like the general public. Like I know a woman I work with was super interested in it, and she couldn't care less about golf. So I think it's more driven to that kind of audience. But for them to also keep guys like you and I engaged, and I love hearing the caddy interactions, that behind the scenes kind of stuff, like you said, I think that's great. So it's really good, super easy watch, episodes 1 and 2. Like I said, I'm a little bit into episode 3. So again, if you haven't checked it out, Full Swing season 2 is on Netflix. Go check that out. Mike, you ready?
Before we do, I do have breaking news.
Oh,
yeah.
Say less.
So I figured I needed to drop this bomb on the audience because I can be a little bit of a baby when it comes to cold weather. I'm not a fan of the cold weather. Once golf season ends in November and we are done playing, the clubs get cleaned, they get stuck in the closet, and they don't ever see the light of day unless I turn the light on in the closet. But it is breaking news that the golf clubs have found their way out of the closet and are officially in the trunk of my car, and they're ready to rock and roll. So let that be known to the audience that the golf clubs are officially out. They're cleaned, they're shined, and they're ready for fairways and greens and tons of birdies this 2024 golf season.
Let's go. That's big news there. Love to hear that. That's a big that's pretty big, Mike. Pretty big.
Big bomb. Big bomb.
Yeah.
Just dropping things left and right.
Ironically, actually, mine went the reverse yesterday. I brought them from the car inside so I could do some cleaning and reorganize the bag and whatnot. And now they're just in the corner waiting to be brought out to the car. So,
yeah, mine have been shoveled away and stocked away, stored away. But now they get to see the light of day, and I can see they're chomping at the bit.
That's good. That's good.
George Wall Ford in Red Bank, New Jersey is family owned and operated, proudly serving New Jersey residents with superior customer service since 1960. Rye, share your story about your experience there.
Mike, I went on a tangent in one of our episodes previously about it, but I can't say enough good things about George Wall Ford. I needed a new car. I had an old. I loved the brand that I had. I loved, it was an SUV, but had 165,000 miles on it. It was just time, So I hopped on over to George Wall Ford. I saw our guy, Jerry, and Jerry and his team were awesome. I mean, from stem to stern, they're there, they're helping, they're knowledgeable. They have so many cars on the lot that you can go in and say, hey, I want a sunroof, a navigation. I want this kind of rims on it. I want this kind of this, that, and the other thing. There's a great chance that they have that car with all your specs, the color, all that thing. Me, I didn't particularly care. I just I was like, hey, I want to be high up in the car, right? I need an SUV. I'm a big guy. I got a dog. I got golf clubs. I got beach chairs in the summer. I need something that's a little more rugged, a little more again, I like to be higher in my car. And I went and saw Jerry. He pointed me in the right direction. And again, it's awesome to have that kind of help and support from your salesman to the finance guy to even they got somebody who helps you set up your car, right? I got an app on my phone now that's got my auto start on it. I can locate my car if I don't know where it is. I could take a trip to Japan if I wanted to and be like, did I lock my car? And I can go into the app and lock my car. So even people helping you set up that stuff, just the hands-on approach over there is incredible. So if you need a car, head on over to George Wall. And go ask for Jerry. They were awesome there. Again, stem to stern from everybody. I can't say enough good things about it. It was an unbelievable experience.
So to Ryan's point, there isn't a better place to shop for a brand new car. Just call 732-704-1932 and ask for Jeremy Wall. George Wall Ford in Red Bank for all your car buying needs.
Mike, let's get into I know what you're eager to talk about. Let's get into the March Madness of this. Because I know that you're dying to. Can I ask, though, Mike, you shared your screen last week?
I did, yes. I can share it. I didn't update it in terms of who won, but I can show you the matchups. Okay,
yeah,
so that'll give you, yep, I can pull it up right now so you have visual evidence of what the matchup was.
Terrific.
Okay.
This way... and the other thing that I wanted to ask, and again, this is Mike just having a meeting here on live time, but if you could make that your screen a little more fuller screen, that would be terrific as well. I'll show you what I mean in a second.
So share. I guess you can see my screen here.
Yep.
Okay, is that better? Or you want that whole screen big? Oh, I got what you're saying.
No. I see nothing right now.
Okay, let's try this again.
Oh,
share
it came up right at the end there.
Okay, so I go to this. Share.
Perfect.
Is that good?
Just last week you had the on the Canva, you had the tab open. Yep, this is perfect.
Yep. Does you see this screen too or no? You see the screen, you're good?
I'm good. Yeah, we're ready.
Okay,
we're good to rock and roll.
So again, listen, I can't thank the audience enough for, again, the votes are just incredible. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. The views, it's just incredible. People show out, and it's clear as day as the courses that they prefer, they like. So again, I'm going to run through this. I'm going to tell you the winners. I'll tell you the percentages, and then we can kind of dive into things, okay? And like I've been saying, I truly don't believe there is any more upsets in this thing. I don't think there is. I think it's courses, play, and whatever people like, we just roll with, all right? So let me see if I can do one quick thing and pull things up here. How's that look to you right there?
With the screen shared, it takes a second.
Okay.
Beautiful right there.
That's good there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good stuff.
Okay, so we're good to rock and roll now.
I want to rock you like a hurricane.
All right, so here we go. So the first matchup, obviously, was Ballyowen versus Eagle Ridge. Two big followings. The problem really is Ballyowen just doesn't really have a social media presence except for the Ledbetter Academy there at Crystal Springs, which does a really good job of sharing things. Ballyowen absolutely dismantled Eagle Ridge, 67% to 33%. Wow. Ballyowen moves on. Next one.
I don't know, Mike, I don't know if you noticed, but my accessory today, my hat.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
looking pretty good.
Yep,
looking pretty good.
You must have looked at the results ahead of time. Moving on to the next round. We had two matchups of yours. It was Wild Turkey versus Blue Heron Pines. Wild Turkey, again, dismantles Blue Heron Pines 65% to 35%. Again, wasn't close. Next one, we had Crystal Springs versus what I thought was going to be the winner in Berkshire Valley. Unfortunately, my winner goes down in a close matchup. Crystal Springs winning 53% of the vote to 47%. Rather close.
Is that the closest one this week?
It was not, but which is nice because we had a lot closer matchups with a lot different takes from people throughout. So Crystal Springs moves on to the Elite Eight. And on the bottom side, Harbor Pines defeats Highbridge Hills 57% to 43%. So when you look at that Elite Eight, you're rolling strong with 3 of the 4 teams are all yours. I only have Crystal Springs riding hard, but your selections looked very, very solid, performed very well, and you look good on the Augusta Alley side of the bracket. Now, as we scroll down, this was the closest matchup out of any of them the entire week. Old Bridge Golf Club, the Rose, was going against Hominy Hill. It was back and forth. When I say at one time, it was like 50-50 throughout like a 2-hour stretch. 1 vote for this place, 1 vote that place, 3 votes this place, 3 votes that place, back and forth. Hominy Hill wins by only 10 votes. Hominy Hill wins 52% to 48%, the closest matchup. So Hominy Hill moves on. Next, Architects.
Which, by the way, by the time this came out, the Roses had their soft opening.
They did. Yes, they did.
So
yes, they did.
if not, I don't know when if they're officially opened or if they were doing an opening and then closing it till the first. But keep an eye on the Rose, guys. If you are looking to play there, they're teasing us now.
Yes, they are. And the next matchup, Architects absolutely manhandles Heron Glen 67% to 33%, over 100 votes in Architects' favor by victory. Yeah. Next one, which I thought was going to be a very, very, very close matchup, really just wasn't. Skyway, again, like they always do, is very strong in social media. LBI I couldn't get them to share, post, anything. So Skyway's credit, they dominate. They win 56% to 44%. And then again, listen, I will say this about Neshannock Valley. I don't know what it is about that area, that course, that surrounding. They just vote for their golf course. They were this week's leading vote getter. It legitimately wasn't even close. They destroy Charleston South 73% to 27%.
Whoa.
Neshannock Valley moves on. So when you look at this side of the bracket, it's 2-2. 2 of mine, 2 of yours. So when you do the math, you had a much, much better second round than I did. With you having a higher percentage chance of finding a victor. And then what's really interesting on this side of the bracket, on the Masters Way side, it's your team up top versus my team, and the same thing on the bottom.
Yeah.
So that's the results.
I'll tell you, I am a little bit worried about what Architects is doing right now. They are running rough shot. You knew Neshannock was gonna play out, right? So again, they are running rough shot, which as they should be. Again, Charleston South is a nice course, but it's not the kind of following that it gets. Quite frankly, from being at both, Neshannock is a little bit of a nicer course. Although I love Charleston, but they've been doing what they should be doing. Architects is coming to play. Architects is playing good ball at the right time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I will say this about Architects, which I'm like so surprised, is I've tried very hard to connect with people. And back in late fall, I was able to. Since then, it's been on radio silence. So if there's anybody in the Architects area that is connected with someone that handles their Instagram handle, I'd love to connect, because I think that's another spot for you and I that we've talked about. And for whatever the case is, people outside of Architects think very highly of that spot. So if I could get them involved too, sky's the limit for them. I mean, it would just be, I don't even know what could happen if Architects played Neshannock with 2 followings that are actually there promoting their golf course. And the funny thing about Neshannock, which I give them a lot of credit, is it's not just the golf course that shares it. It's outside people that support Neshannock. It's Neshannock Valley areas. I don't even know how to phrase it. I frankly don't.
But like the town is sharing it? Or like people that are members there?
No, it's like town handles that look at it and say, come out, vote for your course.
Love it.
It's amazing how some handles are all about promoting their golf course, their town, whatever it ends up being. Like some of these places dive hard into that. Um, I thought I could get some others to be more about that, to promote things. And some people just don't have that social media presence to do that. So it is kind of a little difficult in that aspect of it. But
And I
what
know,
do you
Mike,
think?
that some other people are like, some of them, some of these are public courses that are run by government entities, basically. So like, Charleston Springs being through the county, the Monmouth County Park system, I'm sure that there's a lot of red tape and a lot of back and forth that they have to go through. So, I can kind of understand it a little bit more, that it's tougher for them. Again, I think this is an easy thing to do. I'm not saying that like they shouldn't be sharing it, because I don't think any of this is controversial. But again, I can understand that there's a little more red tape for them to go through, and sometimes it's just not worth it, right? It's just I'm not going to bother.
Yeah.
So, what are my thoughts? If we could go back to, let's start with the other side. Let's go to the Masters way. You know what? Leave it on. Oh, that's fine. You can leave it there.
Okay.
Perfect. Either one. You pick.
Okay. Let's start here at the Augusta Alley and tell me who you see. I mean, you got to feel good about your three squads moving forward. Are you just sticking to your number one seed Ballyowen, saying they're going to get you to the finals?
So, I mean, the Ballyowen Wild Turkey one, I think is interesting, because those are the same people that are sharing it. And I think they know which one is the better course. I think both are really good, but I do think that Ballyowen's going to move on from that one. I'm really excited about Harbor Pines. I don't want to say it was a throwaway course, but it was one that I've been interested in. I've wanted to go play it. I don't know that I'd say that it was going to make it this far, but to do some good damage like it's done, to get, to win 2 rounds is pretty good. Up
Think about
against
this
Crystal
side.
Springs, which is
Three of the four courses on this side are all Crystal Springs Resort courses. It's pretty impressive.
It really is. So obviously, I'd be shocked if Harbor Pines makes it out of this side of the bracket and not a Crystal Springs. I'm not saying the course Crystal Springs, but not a Crystal Springs Resort course out of that side. So I'd be shocked. I do feel again currently pretty good about Ballyowen coming out on that side.
Yeah, I think the matchup of seeing Ballyowen go against Crystal Springs would be very interesting, because obviously Crystal Springs Resort can't lose because they got one of 2 spots are going to the finals. But I guess I'd be very interested to see what the audience thinks, comparatively speaking, because those 2 courses are probably the best 2 up there. So to know how many votes and how many eyes have been on this thing, I'd be super curious to see where the audience lies with the matchup of Ballyowen versus Crystal Springs. I truly would.
For sure. Yeah, I'd agree with you there. On the other side of the bracket, again, Hominy Hill, advancing. Maybe that just goes to Old Bridge being too new. Like nobody's played it yet, so we don't know. So it's you and I are excited about the unknown. I know that, but that's not a knock. That sounds like it's a knock on Hominy. Hominy is top 3 in the state public course every year for a reason. It absolutely slaps, and I think that's more the case there. The people have played it more.
Yeah, listen, no doubt.
And then again, like Skyway moving on. I like that we both have there's a lot of different options. Again, I'm worried about Architects. I really am. It's a great course, but let's see. Those are 2. There's no upsets now. Those are 2 heavyweights. Actually, we'll call them. They're more welterweights, I would say, and especially on this side of the bracket, because I think the heavyweight matchup is Skyway versus Neshannock, and that is, to me, that's the final on this side of the bracket.
Wow.
That's I think one of those 2. Skyway or Neshannock's going to win. I think they'll beat either Hominy or Architects, and they'll be the winner coming out from the Masters Way.
Wow, interesting, because I think you have 4 big time places right now. I think Hominy, huge. Clearly, it's a very good public golf course. You got Architects. People think so highly of it. You got Skyway, Neshannock. Those four, to me, like, I easily could have said, like, that's the final four. Easily the final four.
Yeah.
And to think that now we're going to have them battle in the Elite Eight moving forward, it's like, you really just can't lose because each one of the four are so damn good. But listen, I know when I said early on, I picked Berkshire Valley to win the whole thing. And I know I threw out Architects as like maybe a 1B, 1C, but I just think that for whatever reason, the aura of a different golf course like that has all these different holes about different courses is rather unique. But I just got to think that Neshannock is going to go through straight up redemption after losing last year in the finals. They're on a mission. They're on a mission. Their people are on a mission. They're voting like they're on a mission. They're sharing it like they're on a mission. God, you got to think Neshannock Valley to the moon is happening.
Yeah, it is very scary. So for sure, Mike, it's like I said, that's the heavyweight matchup. That's the Tyson Holyfield matchup there.
Yeah. So listen, tomorrow, obviously it'll be on 11 a.m. It'll be voting will happen for the next 24 hours. You're gonna have to make sure you get your clicks in, get your votes in. Because you want to make sure you have a say in what goes on and where Ryan and I visit this spring. We are guaranteeing a visit, whether you want us or whether you don't want us. We are guaranteeing a visit to the winner of the
Hell or high water.
Yeah, we're packing our bags and we're going wherever, whether you want us or don't. We're showing up and we're going to tee it high and let it fly. So those are the results. So stay tuned. 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, that was again a big week there, Mike. It really was an exciting voting 24 hours with that. And again, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these Elite Eight courses. I mean, I would ask you which one you'd least want to go to, only because well, I don't want to make it sound like we're knocking any course, because I would legitimately, if any of these courses won, I'd be thrilled to go to any of these courses. But I also have an answer for you. But I think that it's which one would you want to go to? I don't know if you could pick that one. Which one would you not like, or is your least favorite, or you least rooting for? I think that's the easier question, quite frankly, because these are 8 great courses.
Yeah, I guess the one that I think you and I probably both agree that Harbor Pines is probably number 8 if we had to rank them 1 through 8, unless I'm wrong there for you. But for me,
honestly, I don't know, because I've never been there. So
I've been there once. I've been there once. Nice track, and I will say one of my best rounds ever. I shot 67. One of my best rounds.
Whoa!
Ever. Yeah, Big Dog was golfing that day.
Okay.
One of my best days golfing ever. So nothing wrong with it. Great golf course.
It tips out of 5,200 yards.
48. So, but nonetheless, I will say it's not a bad track by any stretch. It's really not. So I just think you have, like everything in life, there's different levels. There's different levels. And when I look at what is left, I guess there are some spots I would listen. I know I said to you off air, like I'm dying to get to Crystal Springs again. I'm dying to get up there and see them. And to me, like my hit list of Ballyone, Crystal Springs, Wild Turkey again, like those are on my hit list. Yep. But I'm not. I've also said I need to get to Neshannock. I've also said I need to get to Skyway. Like I said, I need to get to Architects. So I can't lie. Like
that's really 5 right there.
There's really 5? No loser in this whole thing. I'll frankly go to any one of these 8 if you tell me or invite me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that is a PSA.
Yeah. So again, tomorrow, 11 o'clock. Make sure you're jumping on the Instagram and I will say, voting happened pretty early. It was pretty busy right away because I did not jump on right away, and there was a number of votes already by the time I was able to jump on, probably 2-3 hours after it opened up, Mike. So it's good.
Sounds good.
You got anything else?
That's it, pal.
All right. We're now going to send it to our interview we did with John Mascari, again, ESPN radio host on the green with Anita Marks, 8 a.m. Sunday mornings. They're coming up. Mike, when did he say?
Masters Week.
Masters Week?
Yeah.
Masters.
April.
So they're going to get that started. Anita does her own show Sunday mornings, but John's going to jump on for that specific slot, whatever you want to call it. He's also the dog at Alpine Country Club. We need to have more director of golfs on.
Great stories about CC Sabathia. If you're a Yankee fan, great stories about CC Sabathia.
And just like the whole mentality of professionals coming into golf now, he was an awesome dude again. So make sure you stick around. Here's our interview with John Mascari. Enjoy.
Comstock Yacht Sales has been the Jersey Shore's #1 boat dealer since 1973. Did you know that Comstock now has 2 on-water sales locations to better serve the boaters across New Jersey? Their full-service marina is located at 704 Princeton Avenue in Brick, and their all-new sales location can be found at Navesink Marina in Seabright. Comstock currently carries some of the best boat brands manufactured today. The team at Comstock is proud to be New Jersey dealers for Regulator Center Consoles, Grady White Boats, Tiara Yachts, Sea Pro, Four Winds, and MGM Yachts. If you're looking for a new or pre-owned boat or looking for help selling your current boat, Comstock Yacht Sales is the place to go. Go online to see their full new boat lineup or stop into one of their 2 locations today. They can be found at ComstockMarina.com. That's ComstockMarina.com, or for immediate sales assistance, text them now at 732-604-1237. That's 732-604-1237. So today's guest is a special one here. We got the director of golf at Alpine Country Club, along with the host of ESPN Radio's On the Tee. Today's guest is John Mascari. John, thanks so much for joining today's show.
Hey, Mike, how are you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
Listen, this is I know you and I were kind of playing DM tag for quite some time, and I knew it was inevitable before we got you on. But before we get going into everything that you got going on, not only at ESPN but also at Alpine, why don't you give the audience a little bit of background about you, some of the things that how you got into this in terms of golf, into the radio side of it. Why don't you give the audience a little background about you?
Yeah, sure. So I hated golf as a kid.
Really?
I did, yes.
Wow.
My dad was an avid golfer, but I played baseball growing up my whole life. I was a hockey player also. So golf was boring and golf was slow. So it was funny. My dad used to hit balls when I was at baseball practice, like in the next field. He'd stand in center field and hit into the backstop, like to collect the balls. So I was like, let me try this out. And I was able to do it pretty good. So I was like, okay, this isn't too bad. It's kind of fun. And I got good quickly and played high school golf. I had a successful junior golf career. I grew up on Staten Island, New York. So played all the city golf courses, La Tourette, Silver Lake, places like that, and eventually gave up baseball. And I went to Rider University. And I played Division I golf at Rider for 4 years and decided to move to Florida after college, like all aspiring golfers do, and spent winter months in Florida trying to play this tour and that mini tour and working my way around. I was able to get a job at a club in Naples, Florida. And I worked for a great golf pro who was kind of instrumental in setting me on this direction. That's Sean Ward. And Sean was like, here, if you want to do this, this is how you can get serious about it. And he thought that I had a knack for the game, for the swing, but more connecting with people, talking to people, being open to the game and excited about the game. And it just opened so many doors. As I'm sure you know, the game of golf opens a lot of doors that maybe you would never have opened. But progressed into working at some great clubs in New Jersey, like Hamilton Farm. I spent 4 years there, 4 years at Canoebrook, Manhattan Woods. I was the head pro at Preakness Hills for 5 years. And now I'm the director of golf at Alpine for 7 years. So looking back on the journey, I probably wouldn't change a thing, Mike. There were times where I was frustrated. There were times where I was saying to myself, is this really what I want to do? But looking back on it, every little piece was a step. And here I am, and I'm very blessed to be doing what I love to do and working at a club like Alpine, which is tremendous, and getting a chance to talk to people like you about the game of golf, and especially golf in New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that's one thing that I've learned a lot about this process and this journey that we're on is like the networking side of things is it's amazing how kind people are with their time, with their availability, and frankly, just being able to come on and talk golfing in the Garden State. We've been fortunate to even step outside a little bit to get some national figures on here into the Met area. But even just sitting here at home, I preach all the time to so many people that I think the golf we have here in New Jersey is legitimately second to none. And I would argue it almost against anybody. I may not win the argument, but I do think when you're talking public and especially the private side of the golf courses here, there are so many damn good ones. And you just are at another one with some unbelievable history there because when you're talking about Alpine, you got another Tillinghast golf course, famous designer with a lot of big time members there. What's it like being at a spot like that?
I think I'll talk to the first part of your statement about the golf in our area, and I might be biased because I grew up around here, but when you think about the history of American golf, you think about where architects, where they came over from Europe and they came over from Ireland and Scotland and settled in our area in Massachusetts, in New York, in New Jersey, and Connecticut. We're talking about the breadbasket of American golf, right? All the great clubs. This is where the USGA is headquartered. We've had so many major events in our area, and we're spoiled to that matter. We're spoiled that we can drive 15 minutes and run into a top 100 club, no matter which direction you go.
No doubt. I know.
And that's really cool. We're blessed in that manner, but it puts a big emphasis on the game of golf in our area. So a lot of golfers, a lot of people, and it's great as a golf pro and like you, someone in the golf industry, that the spotlight is on us. Now, obviously there's fantastic golf in other parts of the country, but I'm going to say that we're still in the best area for playing the game and for the golf courses we get to play on.
Yeah, listen, I totally agree with that because I understand like from a private perspective, like being able to not everybody has the luxury to get the invites to go play X, Y, or Z. But even on a public side, there are still so many damn good ones. And then when you get that invite to that special one, it's like, wow, it just opens your eyes to like, this is unreal. Big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. There's a lot of great public courses in our area. You're talking to someone who grew up playing public golf. We were a middle-class family. There was nothing remotely close to a club membership in my house.
Mhm.
It was, brown bag lunch, go to La Tourette on Staten Island and play from sun up to sundown. And you became friends with the starter, so he'd let you go around for another 9. But looking back on it, that was what really drew my love to the game, was that ability to just go out and you meet people, right? One day you're playing with a father and son. Next day you're playing with a grandfather. Next day you're playing with a single-digit handicap. You could be playing with ladies who just started the game. And understanding how so many different parts of our world and our community come to the game of golf, to a public course, and enjoy the game together. It's one of the most beautiful things about our game is that you can have that interaction with people from different walks of life, from different backgrounds, from different social statuses, where it's just you and a ball and you're all trying to do the same thing and put it in the hole.
Yeah, that's so true. And then obviously, the second part when I was talking about Alpine,
Mm-hmm.
what's that place like in terms of like now I'm a big like nerd. I always am looking at pictures. I'm checking this out. Like, I saw when you had Paige Sporanic there this summer. Like I'm all in on all that stuff that goes on. And I feel like I'm connected even though I'm not connected. And tell us a little bit about like an Alpine. What's that place like?
Yeah. So, driving into work every day, you realize how blessed you are to work at a place like Alpine. So if you've been to the club, there's a drive up past the big old clubhouse at the main entrance that kind of meanders its way past the first and second hole. And you go slow and you look to the left and you see this beautiful piece of property that Tillinghast designed. It just flows with the terrain of the area in Bergen County. And that's our gem. we love having that golf course every day, and we care for it, and we put a lot of effort into making it fantastic every day. So Ryan Ponwitz, who's our superintendent, is the caretaker, and I use that word in capital letters because he cares for every square inch of that property, and it shows. So the greens run at a 13, maybe a 14 every day. The fairways
Holy
are
hell.
meticulous. The tee boxes you can eat lunch off of. It's that type of place. And what we love most about it is we have this history. We have this 1928 golf course by Tillinghast, but as a staff and as a team, we operate in a 2024 world, meaning there's music, there's golf carts with screens, there's all sorts of stuff that you would never think of a classic golf course. And it's no knock against your classic courses that are old fashioned,
Right.
but we're not stuffy. Okay, so our dress code is a little more relaxed. We're more open if you want to play five, if you want to go out at a certain time, obviously with respect to the other members, but we want it to be a fun place where you can come and enjoy golf, enjoy time with your friends. Because as you mentioned before, a lot of our members are titans of industry, are athletes, are film stars, are record producers. They just want to come and be Mike and John,
Yeah, no doubt.
right? They don't
Yep.
want to deal with all that other stuff. They want to just go out and have a good time. And that's our job, is we want them to be here, feel like they're in their happy place, and enjoy a round of golf, have a beer afterwards, and then go back to the rest of their stressful lives.
Dude,
No stress.
I love that because it's not often that I hear talking to like a private golf course person, someone who's involved in the day-to-day operations, to hear such a modern approach on the game of golf. Because we joke around and say sometimes it's the old white man not letting you do certain things, and that's just like a running joke on things. But that's kind of sometimes how it feels. It feels stuffy. I got to have the shirt tucked in. I got to make sure I got the golf shoes on and I got the belt on and the shirt, all this to see like you guys be okay with music, which sometimes is such a negative connotation on golf, is such a welcoming sign that like, all right, we're getting to the point where it doesn't have to be what it was. Like we can evolve a little bit with things. And to me, that's like such an amazing thing to hear, honestly.
Yeah, we understand that members have choices, right? So they can go and join this club or that club, and we want to be a place where they feel comfortable. We don't want them to feel like they have to feel stuffy. I always talk like, hey, we want it to feel like it's your backyard. So come over, hit balls, hang out. We'll have the music on. They'll smoke cigars, have a great time, and that gets them comfortable, and that makes them come more.
Yeah.
Hey, let's just go to the Alpine and hang out. We're not going to play golf, but we're just going to hang out and putt, or we want it to be like a place that you come and just recreate. It is a recreational sport.
Then they don't have to feel like they're that celebrity or that CEO. Like a guy like obviously I've CC Sabathia is a guy that is a member there. A guy like him who's able to just come there and just be a regular dude probably absolutely loves the idea that he doesn't have to feel so buttoned up in so many different ways.
100%. Yeah, you could, if you ever get a chance to talk to him, he would say that same exact thing. He's like, I'm just CC.
Yeah.
I'm not former Yankee. I'm not a Cy Young Award winner. I'm not a soon-to-be Hall of Fame pitcher. I'm just CC. We're just hanging out. We're playing golf. And I'm playing behind a group of ladies, or I'm playing in front of four beginners, but we're all good. We're having a good time.
That's crazy. Yeah. What's his golf game like?
He's a golf addict.
They all are, though. I feel like, no offense, I feel like all these guys that have never really dove in hard on golf, they get the itch. CeCe, Victor Cruz. Look at what J.R. Smith is doing nowadays, going back. Like, all these guys that are primetime athletes who have been at the top of the pinnacle start to dabble a little bit with this, and they're like, holy hell, this is really fun, and boy, oh boy, is it competitive.
Yeah, I think that's the word you're looking for, is that competition. So these are guys that have competed at the highest level, right? So CeCe plays. Like you said, Victor's always at Alpine. Michael Strahan, Dwayne Wade. I mean, these are Alonzo Moore. These are guys that are the pinnacle of their sports, right? And now they're just back to us in golf, right? And now they're having a tough time. They're missing this or missing that. And that feeling of they don't like being bad at a sport, right? Remember, they've done their entire life being great, whatever their sport is. Now they're just back to one of us, and they hate that feeling of, oh my God, seriously? Now it's fun for me because now I'm the pro, and they look up to me. It's like, wow, that's an awesome shot. I'm like, yeah, well, you're good at hitting free throws. I'm good at hitting 5-yard cuts. So, and we had that before, but man, they're after their round, right to the range. Right to the putting green, working it out, this and that. Anytime they're traveling, they're bringing their golf clubs. And I think if you talk to a lot of great athletes, they'll tell you, oh, I wish I would have started doing this earlier. You know, the guys would go and play golf on off days, and I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not playing golf. I'm like, dude, I could have been playing golf when I was in my 30s. Oh, I'd be so much better now. Yeah, so it's fun to listen to that. But again, it goes back to that feeling of I want to be good at a sport. So this is just a new sport for them, and they're off. So it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch them be humble, and it's fun to watch them be vulnerable around the game.
Yeah, and I'm sure they love that.
John, sorry for jumping on late here.
All right, Ryan. No worries, man.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
I think that's a really good point that you made, is having them, like, they've been so competitive. They've been competitive at the highest level. And now, while their bodies can't do it, they still have, just as competitors, they still have that drive and that desire to be competitive. And golf is now the outlet for them to do that. And I think that's kind of a reason why pickleball has exploded as well. It's not super athletic, but it still has that competitive drive to it. So,
yeah, I think you look. Let's look at someone like Cece, who you mentioned, Mike. Spends a lot of time on the range, hits a lot of balls. We work with his swing. He takes lessons. He's always in the gym now, right? So you see him online. He's posting, working out every morning. His handicap is dropping quickly. Right. And
I did check. He's a 9.2.
Yeah,
right? I was curious out of curiosity, because he was the one name for me that probably stood out, being a Yankee fan and knowing he's right there. And I kind of looked him up real quick, because I was even curious, are even guys like that on the Gin app? Like, and then you see his scores. Yeah, he's on it, and he's posting his scores.
He's posting. Yep.
He's 9.2 handicap.
Yeah. You know, it was fun to work with him from the start, because you kind of, as an instructor, I was keying on things that would resonate with him as a baseball player. So using the ground, rotating, using your, like, stuff like that he can call back on to, okay, you know what? I know how to do that. I know how to push off. I know how to turn. Right. So stuff like that. So that was the fun part. But now, for him, a big part of his game was close to the green. Right, he could hit it a long way. He understands how to square the club face up, and now he's gotten really well with his putting, with his touch around the greens, hitting soft shots, hitting good places. And you could probably talk to anyone you had on here. If you could figure out 100 yards and in, your handicap goes down very quickly. So that's what he's at now. He plays all year round, which is great too. So he's off in the wintertime playing golf. He actually sent me a text the other day. He'll be around again soon. He's already waiting for the course to open up. So he is officially a member in Alpine, asking the pro on March 5th. When are the greens opening? So I love it. It's great to see. But again, to your point, Ryan, that feeling of I want to beat other people.
Mm-hmm.
I want to beat my friends. That's what it's all about now.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, because we had Jason Bale on a couple weeks ago, who's the director of instruction down at Jupiter Hills, and he works with J.R. Smith, and he, to your point, said the exact same thing in terms of like how he's able to relay information to JR. It's all basketball driven. Like, here's how I want you to do this. Like, you're shooting a jump shot, you're going to do this. And to your point, that's kind of how these guys operate internally. It's like, all right, I grasp this concept. And if you're able to teach them that way, clearly they're a phenomenal athlete that it'll just expedite the process of them getting better at the game. So I can see the correlation there in terms of the why you focus on a baseball analogy, similar to what Jason did with JR with basketball.
Right. Well, you're talking to someone who really has no background in golf, right? So it was blank canvas. So you want to call upon the things that are comfortable for them, right? And oh, okay, that makes sense. I can do that. And that kind of lowers your stress right away too. As a teacher, you want, hey, come on, you've done this for 15 years. You know how to do this. And, one of the things, Ryan, that I did want to mention when you were talking about that level of competitiveness, one thing you also notice is the calmness, right? In situations where they have to hit the shot, they're playing a match and they have to get this up and down. The level of calmness that you see the athlete show, whether it's in their arena or not in their arena, it's hardwired in them. And it's really interesting. I pick up on it. It's just like it's another shot, right? There's no thinking. I talk to other students and they would be like, oh my God, I'd be so nervous in that situation. Oh my God, that they would lock up or they would get so nervous with this 6-foot putt to win the match, where former athletes they just go through this process of trusting yourself, go through the routine and just do it. So I think there's something to be said about that too.
That's awesome. That it doesn't matter what arena it's in. It could be in front of 60,000, at Game 7 in Yankee Stadium, or 6-foot putt at Alpine on 18th hole. He still has the same. His nerves don't matter. That's a crazy observation. Really cool.
Yeah, but it makes a lot of sense for guys like that. But like when we talk a little bit about like your golf game, like obviously being a director of golf, we hear the stories from so many different people. Like, I'm not able to play as much. I'm maybe teaching more. The game has kind of taken a backseat. When you look at you as an individual and like your golf career or your golf season, like, are there still times where you're able to put time and effort into it? Or is that really for you kind of now taking a complete backseat?
Yeah, I think, at an early age when I got into the business, Mike, it was, I'll never forget this. Billy Ziobro, who was a great golf pro in our state, Hall of Famer. He told me, John, you can be great in really one of 3 areas in our business. You want to be a great teacher, you could be a great player, you could be a great club pro. And the Hall of Famers are maybe 2 out of 3. And I was like, what is he talking about? I could play, I could teach a little over here, I could do this stuff here. But the more, as I got older, I realized it was about time. And there's no extra time during the day. So if you're going to be a great teacher, you're going to put the time in to learn to be a great teacher, and you're going to be teaching a lot. So the other parts of that triad might decrease. Like, you're maybe not going to be able to play as much, or maybe you're not going to be able to be in front of the membership for tournaments, or giving out, like being a face of the operation. And then you look at maybe playing, where you have to be away playing golf and practicing on your own game. Well, I can't teach as much because I'm working on my own game. So, I'd say the season, but also my career kind of goes through an ebb and flow. Meaning, when I was younger, it was a lot of playing and learning how to teach because it was fun, right? And then, well, I want to get more into the business. All right, well, I have to put some time in and learn how to run a tournament and talk about public speaking and talk about the greens and talk about agronomy at the club and sit in on board meetings. And so now that I'm starting to go down, and now, I'm not having enough time to play and to teach. And again, we have this roller coaster of how we go through not only our year, but our career in the golf business. So now I'm at a point where I'm kind of starting to get back into playing a little bit more, because I'm comfortable with my job. I'm comfortable with my team. So a lot of the stuff that I would do as a head pro, I can now delegate to others, because I felt like I've trained them correctly. And that's, those guys have that covered. I'm going to go play 9 holes. So it goes through these patterns, and that's the same thing for the year, right? I'm going to play a lot of golf early. Then we get to the dog days of the summer. I'm not going to play as much. But come the fall, I always play my best golf in the fall. It's amazing, right? It's so funny. I'm like, I look forward to September, not because of the course conditions and the weather, because, all right, like, the stress is melted off me. I'm not worried. Serenity now. I'm not worried about the stress of the golf course. I can play. I can have fun. And so it's a mirror of the career and the year, where in the beginning, and you're playing a lot and teaching a lot, and then as you get into, you're digging your feet in a little bit more and kind of making a name for yourself, you have to spread yourself a little thin.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, and then on top of that, like you mentioned the golf side of it. Not to mention if you're trying to have a family and stuff outside of the golf.
Yes,
so you talk
yes.
about time being taken up. Yeah, that's a lot of time.
It's an unfortunate statement, but a lot of golf pros have a difficult time in a relationship, and I'm sure you've heard that from other golf pros. And I'm blessed that I have a fantastic wife who's been with me from the beginning. So from out of college, she gets it. She's supportive. I have kids. I have 2 kids, obviously now, 14 and 10-year-old. So that, 8 years ago, it was tough.
You were in it. You were in it 8 years ago. Getting
up in the morning and making a bottle, knowing that I got to get to the club in 2 hours. It was, it was up to here. You know what I'm talking about. So it's, you learn as you get older to manage your time better, to prioritize and to delegate. And then perhaps that's the hardest part, is giving up control, giving up you doing everything. That was probably the hardest thing for me, but you realize that it's going to be fine.
Yeah, listen, I to your point about time management, like I feel like that's how I operate my life. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old, and it's like, thankfully, my wife is very similar to you, where she's very, very supportive of me doing so many different things and having my foot in so many doors. But it is, if I'm not managing my time as effectively and efficiently as I can, like I'm kind of just doing everything a disservice. So it's like, not to say that you're so regimented in what you do, but if you want to be as productive as you can, you kind of have to fit this inside this bubble of 24 hours so that you can say, hey, listen, I was able to get everything done as effectively as I can. And then if I need to, I got to step away or even delegate.
Yeah. The calendar app on your phone is a beautiful thing.
No doubt.
And I'm old enough to remember the Ping. They used to get a book from Ping that was a calendar. It was like a lesson book. And you write in, Mrs. Smith at 9:00, and then you draw a line because you wanted to have lunch. And that was the precursor, obviously, to our calendar app. But I live by that thing. I mean, and it's gotten to a point where I block off, a half an hour to answer emails, and I block off time for lunch, and I block off time to walk the range or just drive the golf course, because there is so much coming in all these different directions that if I don't make plans and line all this stuff up, I'm going to drop the ball or I'm going to forget to do something. So that goes from family life, that goes from work life to personal. It's the world we live in now. And listen, golf has been, the last few years has been increasing, right? Rounds are up ever since COVID. So it's a good thing. But it's puts a stress on us from a time management perspective, and the good golf pros and the good people in our industry like yourselves understand that and make the priorities.
Yeah. And I think for someone like you too, that you talk about managing your time. You're not only at Alpine, which kind of leads me into the next thing with ESPN Radio. Obviously,
let's put more on your plate, John. Come on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to talk about, and I joke with Ryan, like, I feel like I play Tetris with my life, and it's find the right piece that fits the right puzzle.
Says it all the time.
You sound like you have something similar. Like, you're not only doing Alpine, and you want to talk about a membership that is big time in terms of what their expectations, I'm sure, are. Then also you're kind of dabbling over there with ESPN and the Sunday morning show, like On the Tee. Like, that's a lot to balance as well. Talk a little bit about how you got into the ESPN side of things.
Yeah. So when I was the head pro at Preakness Hills, I have a good friend named Tina Servasio. Tina does sports on Fox New York. So she knew Anita Marks, who's a friend of hers. And Anita was an avid golfer, but kind of new to the game. And she's like, would you help my friend out with some lessons and, getting into golf? She's very athletic. She wants to play. I'm like, absolutely. So I kind of knew her name just from being in the sports world and being a New Yorker. And we hit it off right off the bat. So we were, she improved. She loved it. We had a great time working together. And we were just sitting on the range one day, and she's like, I want to do like a golf show. No one does golf on the radio. Do you want to co-host with me? And like the word yes couldn't get out of my mouth. Yes, like she didn't even finish. And so that was 7 years ago. So we're entering our 7th season.
Wow.
Coming up. We're kicking things off. We always kick it off Masters weekend. So this, I guess it's the 14th of April, if I'm right on my calendar, Masters. We'll be on the air 8 o'clock, 98.7 ESPN New York. Myself, Anita, Christina Thompson, who's a big part of our show, handles a lot of our LPGA work, and it's been amazing. It's been, like our first show was Mike Tirico at the Masters. So, we kicked it off with a bang. I've had a chance to interview legends, tour players, people in our industry, CEOs, like you said before, Mike, before we kind of came on the air, just talking about the doors that this game opens up for us and the people that we're able to talk to and able to get to know just by being around golf, that if we weren't, we would have no business talking to. And it's been fantastic. It's been fun. It's opened up doors for me outside of golf, around golf, people who know who I am, people who listen. You're
a celebrity.
Yeah.
You're on the radio.
Celebrity, right. Ooh, celebrity.
Yeah, but you are. Like when I told my buddy the other day, who's a big ESPN sports radio, WFEN, the whole nine, and I start throwing out your name, Anita Marks, he's like, oh my God, that's what I listen to every morning. So it's like,
that's cool.
Unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to deem it, like you are.
Yeah. Where can I Venmo him $20 for saying that?
Well, like Don LaGreca says, it's not show friends, it's show business, right? You're a celebrity. That's right. Show business.
That's right. And it's so funny because it's funny you mentioned Don LaGreca because we used to tape in the Michael K studio. Our show, okay, and I would sit in Don LaGreca's seat, and being a hockey guy, I'm like, hey, this is Don's seat. I'm like, I'm holding the microphone, like Don holds it. So it was a little bit of a celebrity crush there, but
and Don famously hates golf, so that's
I know, and frankly, there was times when I would see him and mention that to him. I'm like, come on, Donnie. But it has been great. We're looking forward to it. Got a great lineup of guests. I don't want to spoil it yet this year, but we've got some really fun people lined up. Sponsors have been great. So, but going back to your first part, Mike, when we talk about balancing time and all this other stuff on my plate, the members of Alpine love it. Like they love that they hear their pro in the morning. They love that we always talk about Alpine. They always mention John Mascari from the Alpine. Anita always says from the Alpine Country Club.
Yeah.
Like it's some fancy thing. I'm like, will you stop already? We're so not that, but the members love it. They listen to me. It's on in the locker room. So they don't mind me not being around for 45 minutes on a Sunday morning. I'm either in my office or I'm at the studio. It's fun. It's great PR for the club. And like I said, they're very supportive. So it'd be a little different story if they were not. I'd have to ask myself if that's something I wanted to do. But they love it. And I always ask, hey, do you mind if I do this again this year? And they're like, absolutely. Please keep doing that. So
that's great. When you're in the studio, how long does it take you? Like Sundays in the summer at the course is kind of a big day, right? So
yeah, those are the days that I'm taping from either my office or from home. Most of the time, this microphone is on my desk. Okay. So it's funny. My staff bought me an on-air, off-air light.
Okay.
For above my office. So I turn on air on and like don't come in my office. I'm on the air. But yeah, it was when we first started, Ryan, we would tape at midnight the night before.
Okay.
Which was good because I didn't really have to miss much work. Mm-hmm. But it was tough because of sometimes there was a change in the tournament or someone had dropped out or if it was a bad time zone.
Yeah.
We really didn't know the ending. So being live now is easier in some way, but like anything else, being live is being live. So you have to kind of plan out. And it's funny because I'll lay out. I wish you could. I'll take a picture of my notes one time. I lay out all my notes, right? So I've got the tournament notes, the golf course notes, what's going on here. And I've got like this highlighter system where it's, orange highlighter is PGA Tour and the green is the LPGA, and orange, blue is going to be just some talking points about what's going on in golf. And I'm up the night before doing a lot of this stuff. So again, more time management, more preparation, but it's not just like I'm, grabbing the microphone. Hey, what's going on? Yeah. And if you want to really, if you're serious about stuff like you guys are, and you want to be prepared and you want to put your best foot forward. So it's been fun.
I'm imagining like that. What's that? Always Sunny, where he's got the board that's got all the
with all the different lines going everywhere.
the yarn that he's got connecting.
Yeah, the connections of 75 degrees of connection to this and so forth. I tell you what though, if you look at the golf world and the golf business, it's very much like that, right? Who knows who knows this guy, and I used to be his assistant. Now he's the head pro here, and my former assistants. Now it's as big as our world is, and I think you guys are probably understanding of this, that it's super small.
It really is.
It's a super small world, so
it's amazing.
Don't mess up.
No, it's to your point though. It is amazing what I've learned with connecting with different guests and trying to get them on, that this person knows that person, and since they came on the show or they've had an interaction with us, they realize like, hey, we're not just two guys just trying to like get something out of this. We're really just trying to highlight all things golfing in the Garden State. And it's like, all right, they're good dudes, and that just has trickled down to the next person because of this ecosystem just being so small and so tight.
Yeah, it's such a massive world with the scope of golf courses, with the scope of golfers. But again, breaking it down, hey, so-and-so's going out for this head pro job. I know one of the members from that club because he played at my member guest at Alpine. Let me pick up the phone and call him and say, hey, I see that you guys are looking for a head pro at your club in Kansas. I don't know if you've looked at it, but, talk to this person, talk to that person. And people pick up the phone and people have no problem talking. And you talk about the people that you've interviewed, the people that I've interviewed that are happy to just talk about golf.
Yeah.
Mike and I say that all the time. All the time. People are so open, so welcoming to just, yeah, sure, I'll come on. We'll talk about golf. And to your point, that it's such a small knit community that's so open and welcoming in all ways, shapes, and forms.
Yeah, people have point blank asked me, like, do you pay to get these guests on? Like, people have point blank asked me either in a text or DM, like, and I'm like, no, am I supposed to be paying them? I'm just looking to chat golf. And it's crazy. People do ask me that.
I'm not getting paid for this?
No, you're not. It was a good chat. John. Good seeing you.
Right. Try the veal, everybody. Good night.
Go check out On the Tee.
Yeah.
On the Tee.
No, yes, no. You're right. You're right.
That question. They're like, oh, how'd you get Jim Nance? And how do you get Stu Hagestad? And how do you sit down with Michelle Wee? And like, how much you pay that? I'm like, I don't know. I just went through this person to this person to this person. And then I just pitched who we are and what we're doing. And they said, yeah, we'll give you 20, 30 minutes. Just be respectful. I'm like, done. It's crazy. That's really all I've done. And they're mind blown. They don't pay anybody.
Yeah, we're happy to talk. I'm happy to talk to you guys. You're going to be on our show, so we're happy to have that happen. It's a tight-knit community. Yeah. It's a very tight-knit community. And I think a lot of it is that there's no real sense of like you're kind of looking over your shoulder. You want everyone to be happy and be successful. It's very much a community in that word. Like, hey, come on, let's all, like, a rising tide lifts all ships, right? Everybody's going to do better. Let's all do better together. Let's help each other out. And it's amazing how, your podcast, our show grew from nothing and has become something pretty big. So onward and upward for us all this year.
Yeah. So I do like to, again, I probably could sit here and just keep talking to you and forever and ever, and people get mad at me. Mike, your interview went too long. You need to kind of cut it back. But like, I do kind of like, Well, listen, we'll come up to Alpine and we'll shoot this shit for hours if that's the case. But
Let's go.
I will say, like, one of the questions I like to end things is for like an audience member, if they ever were to get an invite to a special golf course in New Jersey on the private side, or even maybe a public golf course that sticks out to you, you can't say Alpine and you can't say Pine Valley because the opportunities of people that go play Pine Valley are slim to none. But like here in New Jersey, is there a private and a public golf course that you may recommend?
Sure. From a public perspective, I'd say it's probably Galloping Hill for me. I think it's a great.
Wow, that's the first time we've heard that.
Yeah.
Really? Well, I'm surprised. I mean, listen, they've held the state open there, so it's obviously a good golf course, as you know. If you haven't played there, you should. But just the whole, where it is, it's so easy to get to. It's right off the Parkway. It's a good test of golf. I think Kemper Sports runs it, so they're doing the right thing with hospitality, with service.
Yeah, Chris is the GM over there. I've kind of connected with a lot of people. It's funny because on a more competitive side, I dabble on the competitive side, and my buddy and I are actually doing the NJSGA 4-ball qualifier at Galloping Hill.
Not
and
me.
Chris is their
His
GM. Not my other buddy. And Chris who's the GM, has reached out to me. He's like, listen, you ever want to just come play? You're more than welcome to see it. So those guys are beyond.
Have you never played there before?
Never.
Oh, you're gonna love it. It's actually a fun golf course. It's got its challenges, but you know what? You're gonna hit every shot in your bag. You should definitely play before the qualifier for sure. Take care of that business. But I think they did a great job. Obviously, the State Golf Association being headquartered there, it's right under their nose. A lot of great events. They support the programs, support the caddy programs, all the great things that's foundation does. For me, from a private club, not counting Alpine, I'm going to have to go back to Hamilton Farm for me.
Great spot.
I learned a lot about hospitality working there.
Interesting.
The golf course is tremendous, right? You've got the par 3 course, which we spent more time playing the par 3 course than the big course, just because it was just fun, right? But
the driving range is spectacular.
There's nothing bad about the place.
Yeah, I know.
The golf course is awesome to play. It's in impeccable condition. The range is amazing. The short course, the clubhouse, the locker room, the drive up the road.
I know.
It's like, all right, I can play golf here every day.
Yep.
And Drew Jordan and Aaron and all the folks at Hamilton Farm do a tremendous job. But the level of hospitality that they produce every day exceeds whatever I would think of going to a course. Like just one step ahead. And it's a kudos to their team. It's kudos to the Townsends who run the place and own the course, that they know they have a great course, but they, it goes back to what we talked about at Alpine, was we want people to feel special. We want them to feel loved. We want them to have a good time. Simple as that. And if you ever get an opportunity, those of you who are listening now, to play Hamilton Farm, after you play Alpine, of course, take it, because it's an experience. It's an experience you won't forget. I mean, listen, the golf course is fun. It's relatively fair off the tee. It's an approach shot golf course, but you're going through some of the most beautiful land in our state. The Bedminster, Peapack, Gladstone area, horse
that
country.
Shot on 18 right there with the clubhouse right in the background is one you just
right.
Can't forget.
You everyone takes their phone out on the 18th tee box.
100%. Yep.
Right? You have a good finishing hole when everyone takes their phone out. Yeah. Right?
So true. So true.
That's a good one. John, you mentioned, trying to get into play more and getting more, the fall is your time. You're looking forward to it. I think golfers are quirky by nature. So what are some quirks, or as I've been told to correct, habits that you have when you're getting ready to play a tournament or a competition? What are some things that you do? Whether it's like you got to have the glove in this pocket, this amount of tees, this kind of thing. Like we've heard some crazy ones, but is there?
Yeah, I'm not that psychotic, Ryan, to be completely honest. I don't count the tees that are in my pocket, but I do put my glove in my left pocket, which is a little odd. Everyone tends to keep it in their right pocket, but that's something I've just always done. I don't even think about it. When I warm up, it's always backwards, so it's putting first.
Okay.
Putting, around the green, bunkers, hit some bunker shots, then off to the range.
Okay.
And I'll hit driver last. So I kind of go through the bag backwards.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I think I do that without knowing I do it because the driver's kind of always been my Achilles heel. Ever since I was a college player I'll save that to last because I really don't want to. I know you're there. I know you're in the bag. I don't want to look at you right now, but I know you're there. We have a mutual respect for each other. So, and I've always been a great putter, so I'm quick to grab the putter out of the bag because it makes me feel good.
Yep.
So, wow, now that I'm thinking about that, maybe I'm a get more psychotic than I thought.
Look what the question does. It's a deeper question than most people think.
Hold on, let me lay down on the couch here and get a deeper feeling of the inner workings of John Mascari. Let's see. Yeah, for me, and it's funny because I'll go to the range and my ball flight's typically a right to left draw. That's what I feel comfortable with. But there are days when it's kind of fading a little bit or it's a little cut and it's like, oh, I guess we're playing the cut today. I'm not going to be that person who's just going to sit there and grind on the range and try to turn the ball over. Come on. And I think that's just because I was a feel player. I didn't grow up. La Tourette had a crappy range and I just would figure out how to get the ball to the hole in whatever way I could. And it's funny, going back to Hamilton Farm, I remember a fun story. I was on the range, and if you remember the range there, they have a windsock in the middle of the range. So they have a helicopter pad that lands here. So there's a pole with a windsock on it that's about 140 something yards. So I'm there on the range by myself, and I'm trying to turn the ball around the pole, right to left. I'm like, I'm going to turn this around the pole. I just can't do it. I can't turn it around the pole. I'm looking at my position on the way back. I'm looking at my stance. I've got the alignment sticks. I've got boop-a-da-bop-a-da-beep all over the place. And this guy comes down. It's Mike Adams. So Mike, I'm sure you guys know Mike, I think he's number 2 or 3 in the Golf Digest. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to turn this 8-iron around. And I feel I'm working on my grip. I'm like, what do you think if I turn this hand a little bit that way? He's like, will you stop? And he grabs all this thing. He grabs all the sticks and he throws them to the side. He's like, hit the damn ball around the sock right now. He's like, don't think, just hit it. And I get up and I hit this little nice draw around the sock. He's like, all right, good. How'd it feel? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, we'll do it again. And then he's like, all right, now hit it. Now cut it around the sock the other way. So I he's like, stop overthinking and stop trying to manufacture a swing and just be an athlete and hit the ball where you want to hit it. And it doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't have. So I learned that I am not a technical swinging golfer. I have a very idiosyncratic type swing. It doesn't look like you'd put it. I wouldn't be the best PGA logo, design if it were me. But, I can golf my ball, and it's a matter of being comfortable with trusting yourself and being comfortable with, all right, I'm going to aim it here. It's going to drip to the right or turn to the left. And there are days when that cut is really easy. There are days when it's hard. There are days when it's going a little bit more than you think. And you kind of have to dance with your date, right? If this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
No doubt.
But I see it a lot where there's members at Alpine that will spend 2 hours on the driving range just beating ball after ball after ball. And you can see their hands getting tighter. And I grab the grip from them and it's so warm because they're strangling that club. I'm like, go for a walk.
Yeah.
Like just
get away.
Just let it melt off and get away. You're not a pro. You're not doing it for a living. Don't put any more stress on yourself. You have stress in your life with your job and your family and all that. You don't come to Alpine for stress. We want no stress. No stress is the focus. That's us.
That's great. That's I like what you said there. Go, dance with the girl that got you there. Like you go out, you hit the ball before a couple times. You see, oh, I'm hitting draws today, or I'm hitting 5-yard cuts. Don't try to fix that. 20 minutes before the tournament is not the time to fix that. It's okay. This is what I'm playing with today.
This is what we're going with.
Just roll with it. Yep.
Yeah, and listen, it'd be a little different if I was playing every day. Right. If I'm playing every day and I am grooved in, it's a different mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that with respect to my colleagues that play a lot of tournament golf. There's a lot of stuff on my plate that doesn't surround playing golf. So when I do get a chance to play, there's a few key things, and then we're going. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Couple of key thoughts, couple of good swings on the range. I mean, the majority of my rounds are played with maybe 5 practice swings beforehand. Put your shoes on in your office, run out of the golf shop, peg it, and go.
Yeah.
And because it's not really about that. For me, when I'm playing golf, I like to play well. I think we're crazy if we don't want to play well. But I also want to make sure my members are having a good time. We're moving at a good pace. We're enjoying the golf course. We're talking. It's almost like I'm the host.
Yeah.
Guys, come on, let's have a good, hey, great shot, way to go. I'll help them out with the read here, help them out with that shot. You have to be like you're on stage. So a lot of times our game suffers because of that, but that's okay.
Right, but enough of the time you're playing with some guy who's more like me than I would say Mike is. Mike's a good golfer, and I'm middle of the road, 11, 12 handicap. If I'm playing with the pro, you're gonna beat me regardless, right? It doesn't matter how. So you just hitting a couple good shots just because you're a pro golfer or a club pro is gonna be impressive. Your job isn't to do that. It's to make me feel good about the shots, make it a good time.
Right. I don't want you to be nervous, right? Yeah. So if you're a 12, 13, 14 handicap and you're playing with the pro and Mike and another single digit player, right? You're like, what did I get myself into right here? You're probably so nervous.
How many
right?
vodkas can I put away?
Right. So my goal is to, I want you to relax. Hey, Ryan, you and I are partners, right? Let's go. Come on. We're going to beat these guys.
Love it.
And let's have a good time. I want to keep you chill out. Don't stress out. It's going to be fine because, probably no different than Mike and I, if we went and played with Tiger and Rory and someone else, we'd be like, oh my God, don't whiff. Please don't whiff on this. Please don't whiff on this. We'd be, we'd feel uncomfortable too. So I want to get you to be comfortable. And that's really what my goal is when we're playing golf at Alpine. We'll have days where we'll play matches. We'll get with three other low handicap players, and then it's a little different
for sure
approach.
Yeah.
But the majority of my rounds are with the general membership, and I try to spread my time out a lot like that. I don't want to play with the same groups of players all the time. I want to play with other people because I want them to enjoy the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, John, the last question I got for you. Now, Alpine is super north and super east. I mean, you're almost in New York City there, with how far north and east you are in the state. But the state is in a great debate for a number of years now over the name of a particular kind of breakfast meat. And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you what the name of that breakfast meat was for you.
For me, it's always been pork roll.
Attaboy.
I knew this was a good interview. Had he said Taylor
pork
ham,
roll, egg and cheese, baby. Let's go.
That's what I'm talking
Salt,
about.
pepper, ketchup.
Yeah, and you're in the heart of TaylorMade country, Taylor ham country up there.
I know, but it's always been pork roll for me. But
love that.
Has it been an even split so far? What's the results been? Give me the Family Feud survey says on this one.
I'd say
it really depends on where you live.
Yeah, it's honestly it's spot on with where you are in the state. It's right about the Driscoll Bridge, south of the Driscoll Bridge. Pretty much, I don't think we've had any Taylor hams maybe one. And then same thing, you go north of the Driscoll Bridge. You go way north of the Driscoll Bridge. They're all Taylor ham, so you're really the first one that's way north. That's pork roll. But right about the Driscoll Bridge to like the Rutgers area, there's like a gray area between the line that goes
I
across.
hope you have like a very detailed graph showing all of this.
Legitimately,
Can we get Steve Bernanke from NBC News to come on and show us? We'll roll up our sleeves like him and show us. Hey, right here is this is the pork roll Taylor ham border
for sure.
Right.
But yeah, it's been pretty.
It's
been pretty settled and the whole way through. So yeah, no real surprises. Honestly, you'd be the biggest surprise because of how north.
Yeah, I would say you are. I would definitely say he is.
No,
but listen,
remember from Staten Island, so not far from the Driscoll Bridge, I guess.
Listen, I can't thank you enough for coming on. Listen, I know when we get up to Alpine, we can just continue this conversation, but I can't thank you enough for the hour you just gave us. Best of luck with the show on ESPN Radio starting. And I hope to catch up soon with you.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you very much. Love listening to your shows. So really fun for me to be part of it now. So I'm happy about that, but I'll keep on listening and hyping everyone up. And we're looking forward to a great season. Looking forward to you guys being a part of our show this year and coming on with us and talking about all the great things you're doing. I'm sorry that it looks like I'm in a 1970s basement behind me here with the wood paneling. It's like I'm in my mom's basement. All right, Mom, I'll be right up.
The meatloaf, I want it now.
Mom, the meatloaf. What is she doing up there? I never. But it's fun. I love it. Thank you again. It's hard to believe we're into the start of the season. So to all my fellow professionals out there, put your mouthpieces in. We're getting ready to go start the 2024 season. And looking forward to a great year. So thank you so much.
Awesome, John. Thanks again. We'll talk to you.